How's it? Welcome back. So, what are my favorite TV shows of all time? And so it turns out that coming up with this list was quite a bit harder for me to make than like the movie list that we just went through. But I'm pretty comfortable with like my top two, maybe three. Well, say like my top two favorite TV shows. I'm pretty comfortable with those, but I'm also sure that there's going to be a bunch of TV shows and shit that are just slipping my mind and I forgot about. Like when I was working my way through my favorite movie list, as we're getting towards the top, I'm like, oh wait, I forgot this movie. Oh shit, I forgot that movie. So I was trying to insert them in there on the fly. And then even after making that video, I realized I forgot another one of my favorite movies, like Scarface. That would be somewhere in the top 10 for sure. So, I would retroactively put Scarface in my favorite movies as well. Then when it comes to the TV shows, there's some full-blown classic TV shows that I just never watched, like say Breaking Bad and Sopranos and things like that, where I've seen probably most of season one of Breaking Bad, but it was always like here and there and not in order, and so much time would go in between watching episodes that I just never really got invested in it. Although everything I've heard is it's like the best TV show ever. And then for like The Sopranos, I don't think I've ever seen a full episode of The Sopranos ever in my entire life, but I do know that's supposed to be amazing. But anyway, as we work our way through this list, I'll be going from the bottom up, so I'll make you wait for what my true number one is. And there's going to be a lot of like honorable mention type shows in here, but like, Penguin, the kind of newer show that came out on HBO Max a year or two ago. Really loved that show. When I was looking at like the HBO Max shows, I was like, oh wait, man, that was another good one. That was another good one. So, True Detective season one, very very dark TV show, but I really dug that first season for sure. Yellowstone's another really good one. Or like I grew up on a horse ranch, so I've always been around like horse culture and things like that, and cowboys. So, on top of it just being a really cool show, it was neat seeing how they really got that culture and shit right. I remember I would like run into my parents who still live and manage the horse ranch, and everybody down there was super into Yellowstone, and they're talking about how accurate a lot of the horse culture stuff is that they were going over. Then I got a bunch of like cartoons and animes, so like Dragon Ball Z growing up, that's an absolute classic. The old school X-Men show, and I was gonna kind of put like the old X-Men animated cartoon as like my number one, because man, that show is really great. I started rewatching it again when they had X-Men 97 coming out on Netflix a couple years back. Still holds up really well, but I just threw that in the honorable mentions because a lot of other really cool shit popped into my head. The old school Batman the animated series, I used to love that show. That show still holds up really well too. Samurai Jack, and the kind of cool thing about Samurai Jack is my older son got really into it a few years back, so I basically got to rewatch the entire thing. Pretty dark show too, man. Some of the themes going on, and I was like, ooh, should I be letting my son watch this? But Samurai Jack's awesome. Cowboy Bebop, old school anime cartoon or show that was really dope. Next up, I got some kind of like sitcom shit that I used to watch all the time. So there was this one really old show called Wings. I'm sure nobody knows what the fuck show that is, but I used to come home from school and that would be on TV, and I used to love to watch that. Another sitcom or TV show that I could just watch over and over and over again. There was this one guy, Lowell, on there. Super funny guy, especially with what Lowell means nowadays. Like, he really fits that perfectly. Another one would be like Rules of Engagement. So I didn't really watch too much of Rules of Engagement, I think, when it was first coming out. But then like when me and my wife first got together, it would always be on right around the news time. And we got really into that show. I'm pretty sure I've seen every single Rules of Engagement episode ever. Still holds up really well. Every once in a while, like, well, not every once in a while, but a few years back, I went to go find old episodes. Still really awesome and entertaining. Then we got some kind of more science stuff. So like Cosmos, both the really old one and then the newer one that Neil deGrasse Tyson did. Love that. Kind of along those same lines, and this show is still going, but Nova. It's called like Nova Science now. Anyway, the Nova Science show, that's really awesome. Kind of getting back to some of the cartoons. So this is what I got down as like my top 6. So Family Guy, super classic. Haven't watched it in forever, but there was a time where I saw basically every single Family Guy episode ever. That's obviously a classic. Dragon Ball Super. I do know there are some Dragon Ball fans who didn't like Super, but I gotta say, I loved Super. That was my favorite Dragon Ball series, easily by like a mile. Plus, I got to watch that with my older son, and that there were so many episodes that it took like multiple years to watch, you know, the new episode that would come out every week with the English version of it. And so, really loved Dragon Ball Super. I thought that was great. Okay, now the top four. Daredevil, like the early seasons of Daredevil on Netflix. That was to me like the best, you know, the best superhero show, movie of all time. I really, really liked Daredevil. Then we got Game of Thrones, specifically like the earlier seasons of Game of Thrones were amazing. So that's my number three. And then my number two. And number two could almost be number one. This is like one of the most rewatchable shows ever. But that being One Punch Man. If you have not seen the One Punch Man anime, holy shit, you gotta watch it. It's super, super good. And then my number one is Shogun. Came out a couple years back on FX, and I got like a Hulu account just to kind of go ahead and watch it. Love Shogun. That show was the most hyped I've ever been for a show to come out, waiting for the next week to come to see what happened. Absolutely love Shogun. I'm not too sure about the rewatchability angle on it. I'd probably have to go ahead and rewatch it, but I do know I liked it enough that, you know, when we'd have like the episode for the week would come out, and then like, you know, later on that same week before the next episode would air, I would like rewatch the episode again. Yeah, Shogun was amazing. I'm stoked they're making a season 2 on it. I kind of hope they don't screw it up, but yeah, Shogun was super dope. Anyway, yep, I don't think I forgot anything, at least nothing off the top of my head at the moment at least. So yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Anyway, until the next video. Oh yeah, also let me know what some of your favorite movies and TV shows are in the comments. But until the next video, keep your TV shows legit.